He was the greatest race car driver I've ever seen in my life.
He could take a wheel bar and put it out front.
Well, he was one of the top guys in the sprint cars, absolutely. And I think he was definitely ready to progress, you know, get to the top level. No question about that.
I kind of thought, boy, I left something laying on the table. I wish that he'd been driving for us.
He was the new kid on the block, but he came on leading the parade, and that was really something.
With his ability and his attitude to go fast, you know, fast wasn't fast enough for him.
As a young man, Stan Bowman learned to drive on the curvy roads and rolling hills of southern Indiana. His passion for speed led him to local racetracks in Louisville, Kentucky, where he began his racing career. In 1955, Stan, his wife Marjorie, and son Randy moved to Covington, Kentucky to be closer to his day job as a heavy equipment operator building Interstate 75.
Until we moved up here, you know, in greater Cincinnati, northern Kentucky, and I mean, and that's where I can, you know, basically remember like going to Hilltop and Lawrenceburg and Glen Estee, all the local tracks, like when I was 8, 9, and 10 years old, because that's where we were, you know, every weekend.
Pretty good all-around guy. I got to know him pretty well, probably about 1957. We were running at the Cincinnati Race Bowl. He came around. He was from over in Indiana somewhere. He wasn't a big star in the beginning, but he seemed to acquire the ability to adapt to any race car he got in and go fast.
You know, he worked, I mean, you know, construction worked through the week, but every Saturday we was racing somewhere, and I was always there too. It's just like Daddy's little boy.
Stan began making a name for himself at Hilltop Speedway in Independence, Kentucky.
It was a kind of a rough, dusty racetrack, you know. He could take a rough track and make it look smooth.
He also did some thrill show stuff. I remember seeing that one time, where they would have these thrill shows that would come around. Joey Chitwood is the most famous one, but there were many others, and Stan would get in an old car and turn it over, run it on a ramp and turn it over 3 or 4 times and walk away or go through a wall of fire. So you couldn't deny not a fellow like that not getting your attention a little bit. So that's how it started.
The first time I ever drove a race car was out at the Hilltop Speedway there in northern Kentucky. Stan was up with my dad they were having fried chicken after the race was over. And I took it out and gave it a pretty good ride. And Stan told my dad, says, Charlie said, that's your car out there on the track. Dad says, no, it can't be. It's making too much noise. My car's not that loud. And Stan said, it sure is. And after I got out of the car and I went running back up to where they were, they was still eating fried chicken. And Stan was razzing me about it and said, I thought you were going to blow that thing up. Just aggravate my dad, I guess, more than anything. He always liked to kid my dad.
He was a good guy and one hell of a race car driver. I mean, he taught me more. He talked to me. He'd come over to my house to drink coffee, and we'd sit there and race at the kitchen table, you know. And he taught me more about racing, and I still remember it.
Buzz on Stan Bowman started in about 1959. Stan started driving a modified car for a fellow named George Connor, who had a garage, and he kept a car there in Covington, Kentucky. And he was successful from the beginning. And no matter where Stan started, you knew at the end of the race he's either going to be first, second, or third. It seemed like it every week. It was almost what you counted on. And I'll say this, George Connors, I think, was a great mentor for Stan Bowman.
My dad won a lot, so, you know, I'm sure that made it easier. And he was, you know, he was liked. He had a following.